I'm Chloe from Growing Up Without Borders.
And today's video is on Atacames, Ecuador. So we had bittersweet memories of Ecuador, and one of the reasons why is because we ended up with probably every parent's nightmare. So we ended up with a really sick child, and that was Chloe. So we're going to share a bit about our time there and the sad story of what happened to us. So it was so bad that I almost didn't want to do this video, and Tyler convinced me to go ahead and do it anyway, because it'll probably hit home for a lot of you, because it's one of the fears that a lot of people have when you're traveling to different countries for what could happen and so on and so forth. So, but basically we took a bus all the way from where we were staying in Cuenca, and we stopped and we went along the coast, and we stayed at a beautiful resort. So it started out really nice. It had a really nice pool. The girls were even able to play with some of the locals. Do you remember? There was a nice little girl there.
With her brother?
Yeah.
And she had two brothers, maybe?
They had so much fun. They were playing in the pool. We had Wi-Fi. We went to visit kind of like the beach area, and that was really nice. They had a lot of people selling things along the beach. We met some different people from different countries, and everything was just wonderful, you know, like a nice day. I think we were getting some nice schoolwork done, like everything was going well. And then something really terrible happened, and it started off as not a big deal. Chloe had a little bit of a fever, as you can, you know, when you're younger or just sick. And the following day, I had run out of the like Tylenol, basically, is what I was giving her. And so I went to the front desk to see if they maybe had any more, and the gentleman there said, you know what, in our country, you don't really mess around with a fever. You should probably go to a clinic and get her checked out. So we ended up taking this little, almost like a, yeah, it was a tuk-tuk, right?
Kind of like a tuk-tuk.
It was a tuk-tuk, I guess, and off we went to this little clinic. And when we walked into the clinic, it wasn't what we're used to. You know, we're used to, well, medical, clinical, kind of white, super clean kind of clinics, and this was like a local, just along the coast, because we were in an area that's like a coastal area, so it's not like you're in a big city with access to, you know, the kind of places that you would have access to. So we were local, and we went in, and we were just like, oh boy, this is not good. And the doctor there was amazing. She, though, right away diagnosed Chloe with dengue fever. Dengue fever comes from a mosquito, and we were really worried at this point because we thought, oh boy, like this sounds scary, right? And it was scary. So from there, we ended up trying to keep her fever down, and it just didn't stay down. And the doctor shared with us her WhatsApp number, which was amazing. So I was able to be in touch with her that night. And she also worked at a private clinic in the next town over. So she said, you know what, it's best that you come into the clinic. So we went to this private clinic that night, and Chloe was having such a high fever. Now this clinic was much nicer. It was a private one, so you paid. And we stayed there, I feel like, till really late at night. I don't know if it was like 1 or 2 or 3 in the morning. Everything's like a big blur now. But that was the first night. So we got trying to get Chloe's temperature down, and she had her first IV there to keep her hydrated. Then we went back to the resort where we were staying, and the next day the doctor came to our resort to come visit, and Chloe was just like, she was out. I mean, she wasn't even eating. She was just lying lethargically, still with a high fever, and the doctor had dinner with us actually, which was really nice. So we ate dinner together, and then she said again, you have to bring her back into the clinic because she's not eating, she's not drinking, nothing's staying down. And so back we went to the clinic again for yet another IV, and we were testing her blood as well. We went to a clinic to test her blood during the day, and her plaquettes were down and her white blood cell count was going down. So it was getting to be the point where it just wasn't getting good. And so night number 2, I feel like we stayed there. This night was like till 3 in the morning trying to get her fever down. And then in Ecuador, you don't take a taxi at that time of night. So it was just Chloe and I. Tyler was back with the girls at the resort. And the nurse called her husband out of bed to come and pick us up at the clinic and drive us back to the resort, which was like amazing because they just were like advising us what to do, what not to do. So then we went back to the hotel again, and then she started like vomiting, and it just was getting worse and worse and worse. And we went back to the clinic again, and at this point they were like, you know what, it's best if you airlift her to Quito and just get her to like a real hospital with like all facilities and everything like that. And her skin was starting to show like almost little blood spots, which could mean that she's bleeding from the inside. So it was getting super scary. So then we were trying to get IVs. We were trying to figure out flights, like getting her here to there, and or if we were going to take a taxi. So then we decided to take a flight. We got a flight right into Quito, and we brought her right away into the hospital there. And while we were there, the following morning they came and they said, you know what, she's septic and she's got a bacterial infection in her blood. And so that's what it was. It actually wasn't dengue fever. And probably if we would have tested for bacteria from the get-go, we could have caught it and had antibiotics in her system. But we didn't know, and the doctor had, diagnosed her with dengue. So long story short, she was there for 4 days, were you?
I think
4 or 5 days at the hospital. And after day 3, she finally started eating, and it was just like, it was so stressful, and it's like one of everybody's probably nightmares when you're traveling if that happens to you. And to top it all off, Angelique and Julia and everyone, they were fevering. They all had like a virus, and then Chloe had it too. So she was struggling with bacteria and virus, and they were at the hotel sick. It was like you just want to throw in the towel and just say, just please airlift us home, like get us back. But needless to say, the hospital facility was probably far superior than most countries. I mean, you had your own private room, huge room. The medical care was by far one of the best I've seen. The doctors gave me their WhatsApp numbers. They were so friendly, so helpful. And then the follow through after we left the hospital, the one doctor from the coastal, from Atacames, she was still WhatsApping us. Remember, Chloe?
Yeah.
And she even came all the way to Quito to see Chloe to make sure that she was well. So she was saying, like, I just want to see that Chloe's doing good. She wanted to see that you were doing better. And she came and visited us in the city of Quito. So that was really nice. So it was a week from hell. Let's just put it that way.
It was quite sore after my arm because it was like all like.
Because every day she was doing blood work on her arm, and then she had to do IVs at night. And so it's not like she was admitted to a hospital where you just do one. So she was getting needles like twice a day. And it was so sore. Her arms were sore, and it was hard because she was screaming and she didn't want to get another needle. And like, it was just, my heart was going out. It was it was traumatic. And for a while, even now, like Chloe, you sometimes struggle with being a little bit scared if you're not feeling good, don't you? Like she's, out of all of us, you know, if she's not feeling, she's like, Mommy, I'm not feeling good. And even when we were traveling, you kept saying, I don't want that to happen to me again, remember? So it's pretty scary, wasn't it, for you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet. So anyhow, it was scary for all of us. So when most people would just, you know, throw in the towel and just call it a day, we actually continued, and we visited many places in Quito, and after that we stayed a whole week just to kind of relax, recoup, regain our energy and our forces, gain some weight because she had lost so much weight before we moved on. But that we will share in our next video. So we will be sharing with you some of the cool things about Ecuador coming up next. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the little notification bell so you can be notified when the next video gets posted. And also, as always,
please subscribe and give us a big thumbs up.
Give us a big thumbs up. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.